Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle, and today, as you can see from the title, I want to talk about if gluten-free is really healthy. It doesn't make you healthier. And you're gonna have to excuse my background here. I got my little baby tomato plants growing, and this is the only window in my house that gets full sun. So they're going to be featured, ironically, in my Does It Make You Healthier video. But why I want to make this video. So I recently had my 1-year checkup with my doctor, and it just so happens to coincide with my 1-year gluten-free journey. If you're new here, my daughter, who is 4, was diagnosed with celiac disease when she was 3. She was diagnosed last May, so we're coming up to about a year. And I know there's a lot of talk about gluten-free being healthier and being a good diet and all that, so I wanted to give my 2 cents because I am 100% gluten-free, but not for medical reasons. I'm not a celiac. So what does that look like when you go gluten-free, but not for medical reasons? Are you healthier? Do you have nutrition deficiencies? So let's start with, do you even need gluten in your diet? And the short answer is no. Gluten is not required in your diet. However, whole wheat, especially in the United States, is a major source of fiber and vitamin D. Why? Because we have a lot of fortified things like cereals and bread. They're fortified with vitamin B, folate, things you need. So it's not really in the original whole wheat form, it's changed. So in comparison to that, gluten-free stuff is usually lower in folate and riboflavin and those nutrients because of the gluten. They do make gluten-free whole grains though, things like buckwheat, rice, corn, those are things sometimes added. Like I know the gluten-free bread we get has the gluten-free whole grains. So it does have some amount of it, but there is a difference there. And same with fiber. Obviously, there's a lot of fiber. If you take wheat, barley, and rye, which is the 3 things celiac can't have, if you take those out of your diet, you're taking a big chunk of fiber out of your diet. So as a person who's gluten-free, you have to make sure for what you're taking out by going gluten-free, you're putting back into your diet into another form. So, I mean, fiber can be fruits, vegetables, leafy vegetables, things like that, beans, and those gluten-free grains I talked about. So if you were just to go gluten-free and eat all the packaged gluten-free products and not really make up for those things that are lost, then yeah, it's not healthier. It's not a healthier version. And one of the questions I get a lot is, did you lose weight going gluten-free? And I don't know, this one kind of irritates me because one, my 4-year-old who has celiac disease did not in fact lose weight going gluten-free. She gained weight because her body's now able to absorb the nutrients, which before it couldn't. But as a non-celiac, did I lose weight? Did my husband lose weight going on the gluten-free diet? And the short answer is yes, but why is the answer? Why did I lose a little bit of weight? Why did my husband lose a little bit of weight going on a gluten-free diet? It's because, first of all, we are 100% gluten-free. What does that mean? We are not fad dieting. Gluten-free is not a diet for us, but more of a lifestyle. Because my daughter has celiac disease, cross-contamination is a big issue. I know a lot of restaurants have things like gluten-free as an option, but doesn't necessarily take the proper precautions in the kitchen to ensure that gluten isn't cross-contaminated with other food or utensils or pans, things like that. So as of right now, we don't eat out, we don't go to restaurants. That might change, once the pandemic is better and it's a safer idea to go out to things for that. And we can, talk to managers and servers more easily about our restrictions. But as right now, we don't eat out. So I mean, if you think about that, you're not going to restaurants, you're not getting fast food, you're not getting takeout. So that right there in itself is healthier. So it's kind of like a byproduct of going gluten-free for us. And for myself, I have been 100% gluten-free. I have not eaten any gluten-containing ingredients. Well, full disclosure, probably in the first early months of going gluten-free, when I was first learning what not to do and what to eat, and I probably was exposed a little bit to it. But from learning, and again, I have lots of tips on my channel. If you're curious, family member, friends have gluten, I have a lot of information on this channel, which is one of the main points of my channel, is to help educate about celiac disease and gluten-free. Anyways, little rant there. And of course, that little rant made me forget where I was. So anyways, it's a lifestyle. I've been 100% gluten-free. My husband has eaten gluten-containing ingredients outside of our house, so he has not been 100% gluten-free. But my children and I have. On top of being gluten-free, I've also been dairy soy-free this last year because my 1-year-old has a dairy sensitivity, so I breastfeed. So in order to not aggravate his sensitivity, I have not consumed dairy and soy for the last year. So I'm dairy, soy, gluten-free. I don't know, you must be thinking, what do I eat? If you're curious, I also have what we eat in a day videos. I also have gluten-free grocery hauls, if you want to know. But anyways, so I've made these large dietary changes in the last year, and my 1-year checkup. I wanted to get some specific blood work done to make sure I'm not having nutritional deficiencies, because this is obviously a new change for me. And I know that a lot of the gluten-free food, packaged foods, are higher in calories and higher in sugar, which again, if you're trying to lose weight, this is probably not the best idea. So I wanted to see where I was. And like I said, I'm not only, I'm dairy, soy, gluten-free. So I had my doctor run the basic metabolic panel. I had him do a vitamin screening. Obviously iron is a big one. I wanted to make sure I wasn't deficient in, because again, I'm not getting those fortified things through wheat products, but I am making sure I eat certain foods to make up for that. And again, I do supplement. I've always supplemented before I was gluten-free. And especially now, since I am breastfeeding, I want to make, because I'm not only sustaining myself, I'm sustaining another person. I do supplement. If you're curious, I do have videos on the gluten-free supplements we do use. And luckily for me, all the supplements I used before becoming gluten-free were actually naturally gluten-free. So that worked out great for me. So the blood work I had done. So specifically, since I'm dairy-free, I wanted to make sure my vitamin D and my calcium levels were good, because obviously I'm not consuming those things. I do consume other things, you know. I do non-dairy cheese, almond milk, Ripple milk is a really good option, high in protein. Coconut milk, especially when you do things like coconut milk yogurt, awesome option. That's what I do a lot for my 1-year-old. So my vitamin D, I have it written down over here so I can get the numbers right for you. So vitamin D levels should be normally between 30 and 100. My vitamin D was 50, so it's right, you know, right there in the middle, so it's good. My calcium, it should be between 8.5 and 10.1. Mine was 9.6, so my calcium and vitamin D levels were actually really good, which I was surprised at, since, again, I have not consumed dairy in a year. So it goes to show you, those got milk campaigns are not real. You do not need milk for healthy bones and all that. Apparently almonds are kicking that milk's butt. But you can be dairy-free and still have plenty of calcium and vitamin D, just so you know. All right. And for gluten-free, I specifically wanted to check for vitamin B12, because again, I'm not getting that specifically in my enriched foods as I would be if I was having wheat products. Iron is a big one, because again, it's not fortified. Potassium, I had them look at, you know, different things like cholesterol. Potassium, again, right in the middle where it should be. My glucose levels were not, they're in the normal range, right in the middle where they should be. So, like I said, a lot of gluten-free stuff can be low carbs, but it's higher sugar content, because a lot of the gluten-free stuff doesn't necessarily taste the best. So they usually add more sugar to make it taste more appealing to people. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't consuming too much sugar. And again, we have treats in this house. We have junk food, we have ice cream. It's not like we're just eating leafy vegetables every day. My kids have a candy bowl, all that. It just happens to be gluten-free. And again, I think it's a balance. You know, we do eat good food, healthy food, a lot of organic food, but we also eat treats and candy and things, but in the right balance for our family. Anyways, so back to it. My iron levels, which I was concerned about. Normal iron should be between 50 and 170, and mine was 140. So actually my iron levels were really good, but you want them to be higher, because obviously if your iron levels are low, you're anemic. So I have no problem with that. My iron is actually spot on. My cholesterol has always been in the normal range, but on the normal higher range. And I think that just has to do with, at this point, genetics, because I don't think I could be eating any healthier. So that goes to show you that a diet won't necessarily change every aspect of your health. Vitamin B12, which is a big one. So the normal range is 193 to 986, and mine were 882. So my vitamin B levels were actually really good, which is important, especially when you're looking at things like folate. If you plan to become pregnant or you are pregnant, folate is an essential thing you need in your body to help prevent things like neural tube defects and different things. It's an essential part of your body. So again, I gave you an outline of my levels, and most of them were really, really good. This is in fact probably the best blood work I've ever had. And is that solely from going gluten-free? No, because like I said, gluten-free is not just a diet to us, it's a lifestyle. It takes a lot of the bad options away. And if I'm at the grocery store, I'm like, ooh, those glazed donuts look good. I can't actually bring them home. We don't bring any gluten-containing ingredients into this house. So in that retrospect, it does help eliminate some of the options, because a lot of the junk food out there, I can't even bring into my house. And then, like I said, most of the healthier foods are more the whole foods, or the naturally gluten foods are whole foods. So we eat a lot of fruits, vegetables, and especially since my daughter was diagnosed with celiac disease and had actual nutritional deficiencies, I put an extra effort in to make sure that certain things are in the house. Good, organic, grass-fed ground beef. I'm trying to get the best nutrients in her as I can, because I know she's trying to make up for some of those deficiencies her undiagnosed celiac caused. And I think when you see a lot of people toting that the gluten-free diet is healthier and made them healthier, I think there's a reason maybe that celiac disease goes undiagnosed a lot, especially in children, or even gluten sensitivity. And again, our foods change so much that I was talking about all the fortifying they do and nutrients they're shoving it in and different things go into it, that it's changed so much that it's not surprising to be seeing these sensitivities. So I know a gluten-free diet has been recommended for a lot of people dealing with certain issues. And I think, maybe one of the reasons you're seeing such positive outcomes is maybe because there's a lot of undiagnosed gluten sensitivity and celiac disease out there. It's pretty common, but the symptoms, again, can be so vague that it goes undiagnosed, especially in children. Again, I have the story of how my daughter was diagnosed. So my overall answer is it healthier to be gluten-free? Yes and no. If you're just buying the prepackaged stuff and you're occasionally eating the cookie or the cupcake that's not gluten-free, you're not really going to see the benefits. Like I said, I don't randomly have a cookie, although I physically could. I am not a celiac. I could physically ingest it and it would not hopefully do too much harm to me. I choose not to. So I reap the benefits of actually following that lifestyle, because like I said, we have to bring in a lot of whole foods to make up for some of the stuff we can't consume. So it can be, I think, if it's a lifestyle, not just a diet. I think if you just use it as a diet, then you're probably actually going to do a little bit of harm to your body. You're going to look at some of those nutritional deficiencies I talked about, because if it's all the prepackaged high sugar, low calorie foods, then that's not really what your body needs. So my perspective is, if done right and it's the lifestyle change, then yes, it can be beneficial. If it's just eating anything that says gluten-free, then no, it's not going to be beneficial. So I hope this helped you guys, and if you have any questions, leave them down below.